History. Growing up in Harlem, Lonnie Tombstone Lincoln found his albinism made him a social outcast. He thought of Joe Robertson, one of the few people who didn't join in the taunts, as his friend, and developed a very strange sense of loyalty toward Robbie. Thompson eventually threw himself into bodybuilding and became downright ferocious. Muscular and aggressive, Lonnie quickly became a bully. When Robbie's high school newspaper was going to publish a story about Lonnie's extortion activities in school, Lonnie intimidated Robbie into killing the story. The two men parted company after high school. Robbie went on to become a newspaper reporter. Years later, receiving info from a snitch that something important was about to happen, Robbie went to meet his informant. He found him dead at the hands of his old high school classmate, Tombstone, who now worked as a mob enforcer. Tombstone later went on to kill Ozzie Montana, and that made him a respected name in the underworld. Once again, Tombstone intimidated Robbie into silence, a silence he kept for 20 years. Tombstone worked in Philadelphia for 20 years and became a legend in that town. Nobody ever produced a testimony against him, and he never was sent to prison. Until he met Spider-Man, he was pretty much invincible, easily handling such chores such as defenestrating the hobgoblin when the latter annoyed the arranger. Robertson rebels. Discovering he could no longer live with his guilt over suppressing the truth, Robbie testified in court against Lonnie and was himself sent to prison for withholding evidence. Tombstone arranged to have Robbie put in his own cell block, where he made life miserable for Robertson and even tortured a friend of his, Bruiser, to death. His will broken, Robertson refused help from Spider-Man and allowed himself to be dragged along during a prison break. When Spider-Man's life was imperiled, however, Robbie attacked Tombstone, sending them both flailing out of the helicopter they were in. Fortunately enough for both men, they landed in a river in an Amish community and survived. When Tombstone threatened an Amish family, Robbie grabbed a pitchfork and defended them. Stunned that his old friend would turn on him, Tombstone walked away from the fight. Memorial. Becoming Hammerhead's chief enforcer, Tombstone set up a trap at Osborne Chemical for Robbie, deciding that the time had come to end it between them. The trap was prematurely sprung by Spider-Man, the Molten Man, and the Green Goblin, Harry Osborn. Faced with Lonnie, Robbie pulled a gun and shot him, sending Tombstone staggering into a room filled with Diox-3, an experimental plant preservative. The preservative gave Tombstone enhanced strength, impervious skin, and lightning-fast reflexes. After being so enhanced, Tombstone betrayed Hammerhead and increased his rates. Description: Tombstone is a giant, 6'7", 215 pounds albino with white hair and pink skin. While his skin is much whiter than most albino blacks, he has negroid features. His appearance is made even more disquieting by the fact that Tombstone has chiseled his teeth into points. He's a modern ogre. Tombstone generally dresses in expensive black suits with a black tie and a dark shirt. He's a made man, after all. His voice cannot be louder than a whisper, which makes him even more threatening. Personality. Tombstone should be played as an urban legend-grade terror. He likes violence, he loves to be viewed as an extremely dangerous man, which he is, and he has a degenerate sense of humor. Consider him an embodiment of the worst the underworld has to offer: strong, professional, unstoppable, and sadistic. He likes to play with his praise and is a bully. Being stalked by Tombstone is a harrowing and quite possibly fatal experience, even for characters of consequent power. Tombstone likes power and has had thoughts about setting himself as more than a hitman, but his limited intelligence has not allowed him to act out his ambitions. Powers and abilities. Tombstone has always been an extremely strong and violent hitman with an excellent grasp of underworld tactics. In WOSM 68, he became as dense and cold as marble and is thus now superhumanly strong and tough. He also gained increased reflexes. I understand he was later further enhanced, presumably to about Cage's level, but I have no data on this.